important step. You validate these prototypes with users, and then you try and improve them all the time. So it's an iterative process. If you look at Samsung, the first smartphone they launched was, if you look at it today, it was probably not very good. But they knew that they were going to improve it all the time. Okay? And that's what most companies today do. They say, okay, we will not have the perfect product from the start. We will have the essential features at the start, but we know that we will be able to improve afterwards. You mentioned the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things for the moment is quite terrible. It's very interesting and nice, etc., but it's not good. The wearables are not ideal. All kinds of things are not perfect about the Internet of Things right now. But companies who are active in the Internet of Things know that these things will evolve, and their customers know this as well. What are very important elements of service design, and you will notice this today, it's very human-centered. So we are continuously thinking about the customers, but also the stakeholders in the process. It's co-designed, so we are here in 4 groups. That's precisely the idea behind service design, is that you do things together. It's, and this is a design term, it's evidenced. You try and as quickly as possible build a solution, something which is concrete, which you can test with users, and it's agile. How many of you have heard of the term agile in software development? 1? 2? You are in software development or IT, or no? But you know a little bit about it. Okay, you're a developer. So what is the explain to the group what is explain it in Greek. It will be much easier for everyone.
Είναι ένας τρόπος για να αναπτύξεις ένα project, όχι με τον παραδοσιακό τρόπο που είναι κανείς σκέφτεσαι ότι θα γράψεις το project, θα γράψεις το μοντέλο καταράκτη, το ξέρετε. Ας πούμε, κάνεις το σχεδιασμό, σχεδιάζεις το προϊόν, το testing και τέλος. Και το στέλνεις στον πελάτη μετά από 1 μήνα, ας πούμε. Το agile είναι ακριβώς το ότι, ας πούμε, το φτιάχνεις γρήγορα, κάνεις τα rapid development. Φτιάχνεις γρήγορα και το στέλνεις στον πελάτη να το δει. Και μετά ξανά το ίδιο, επαναλαμβάνεται συνεχώς. Δεν το κάνεις, ας πούμε, το project σε 1 μήνα και μετά το στέλνεις και μετά προς το fail, ας πούμε. Συνέχεια. Θα πάρεις γρήγορα feedback.
Okay. Is that clear? Did he explain it well? You think so? You're not convinced.
Okay, I know that at that time came from the development world, but my sense, I don't know, I think that's also he explains based on the development process and stuff. But I think that they also have information in different areas.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And this is one example. So the idea behind Agile is rather than trying to do everything at the same time, is you cut it up into small pieces, and then within those pieces you have cycles where you build, and then you test and you see whether it works, etc., etc. The reason why Agile was invented was because people were noticing that the big software projects were taking way too long. It was just too slow. The traditional way of developing software took a very long time. So they said, no, we need to be able to do it faster. And that's also one of the things that you try and do through service design, is you try and develop your services faster. Now, this is a chart that Christina knows very well. And in terms of best practices, when you try and apply service design, and especially if you are going to work with SMEs, try and think about where the SME is today. If it's a very traditional family enterprise which has never done anything new or innovative, then think about what kind of concepts will work with them and what kind of concepts you may want to introduce later. So think about to what extent the companies that you are working with are ready to go for service design. So let's look at the case we will be working on today. So the first step is problem definition, defining the problem. So, and this may sound like a very obvious thing to do. It sounds, when I explain this to people, they say, well, why is this a problem? I would say 90% of my clients, when I first talk with them, they don't know what their problem is. They have not really defined what their problem is. So if you can, there's a very famous quote from Einstein that says 99% of the solution is in defining the problem. If you are very clear on what problem you are trying to solve, the solution will be that much easier to find. In most big organizations, if you go to the executive team, and I have done this, you interview every single member of the executive team, and every single member says something different. And so one of the things that you have to do if you're working with an SME, make sure that you get the key people from the SME around one table and try and define what the problem is. And try to be as clear as possible about that problem. What do we want to achieve? Who do we want to achieve it for? And why? Again, this question, why? So, for example, you may go to an SME and they say, we want to go international. And then you ask, why? Why do you want to go international? Is it because the CEO of the company wants to be able to travel to different locations? Why? If you are not having success in Greece, why would you have success outside of Greece? So really think about what problem you're trying to solve and why. Also try and think about what you want to know, what do you know, and what don't you know. Now, many of the companies I'm working with, especially the large organizations, their first reaction to any problem is, we need to analyze. We need to analyze. And we have to analyze and analyze and analyze and analyze and analyze until we know what the solution is. The problem is, a lot of the solutions don't come through analysis. We are, through our education, I'm sure it is the same in Greece, we are trained to be analytical. We think as long as we analyze a problem, we keep on analyzing and analyzing and analyzing, we will come to the truth, and the truth will provide the solution. Unfortunately, that's very often not the case. And so, if you are in a business, and let's say you are in a Greek business, and you have this fantastic concept around a new product based on olives, just an example, and you want to export to Germany. Will you ever be 100% sure that your product is going to work in Germany? No. You can do all of the analysis in the world. You can do 500 surveys of all the Germans. You can look at all of the analysis of all kinds of similar products, etc., etc. Still, you will not be certain that it will work. Why not? By definition, you have a new product. You're talking about the future. Nobody has a crystal ball. If anybody in the room has a crystal ball, please share it with me. I will pay a lot of money if you have a crystal ball. But we don't know anything about the future. We don't know anything about the future. So, if you're working with an SME and they say, wow, we are not quite sure that this will work, we need to do a little bit more analysis, we need to do this survey, and we need to talk to these people, etc., etc. And if they keep on doing this for months and months and months and years and years and years, stop. Stop. You will never have certainty. Never. So that's the quote by Voltaire: certainty is absurd. Nobody knows. On the eve of the presentation of the new iPhone, whatever the number is, the people at Apple are not certain that it will work. They don't. They don't. And then the next day, either people are incredibly excited, or they say, not very interested. We developed a toolkit for the Flemish region, and so that's one of the techniques you can use with SMEs, is to provide them with a simple toolkit which they can use. We have a new version of this which is available online for free, and we'll give you the references at the end of the presentation. Some examples of things we did. This is a car sharing service to take young people to festivals. And for example, when the company came to us, they said, well, we want to develop a mobile application. And it seemed very logical to say, yes, let's do for young people going to festivals, yes, we need a mobile application. But then when we started talking to young people, at least in Belgium, they said, well, really, we don't worry about how we will get to the concert. Our first concern, the most important thing we care about, is getting the ticket. And as soon as we have the ticket, then we say, whoa, it's on the other side of the country, how will I get there? But it's true, in terms of the way they approach the problem, they are not thinking about mobility first, but they're saying, now, whatever, Beyonce, whatever is your favorite artist, is coming to Belgium or Greece, I need to go. Let's get a ticket quick, because within 10 seconds everything is sold out. And then once I have the ticket, I say, will my parents be able to bring me? Can I go with friends? Etc., etc., etc. So we actually told this company, don't make a mobile application. If you have money, buy advertising space when people have a ticket. So as soon as people have confirmation that they have a ticket, then you're there with your ad and you say, if you need a mobility solution, come to us. You see the difference in approaching a problem. Okay, what we would like to do with you today, and it's very important that you understand this, is we would like you to design a service or service package that could be supplied by a public regional authority, and that will stimulate, support, and guide existing and starting small companies. And it should help them apply service design, design thinking to their business and to their innovation initiatives. Okay? So that's what we will be working on today. So you really have to start from the needs of the small business owner, and you have to think across all the different channels and touch points. And the reason why we want to do this is we want to stimulate growth, employment, development, innovation, etc. Is this clear? Yes? You understand what you need to do? Are you ready to do it? Yes? Was this what you were thinking you were going to do today? Do you want to switch teams? Are you not happy with this? Because you're going to be working with the people around your table. So this is your final chance to switch. Okay. Okay. So the first thing you need to do, as I said, is you need to understand, map what it is you're trying to, what problem you're trying to solve. So, the kind of overview we use, but you could have different ones, is you first try to define the purpose. Why are we doing this? What is the purpose of the solution? Then you try and define how does it fit within the organization strategy. You try and understand the target users. You try and understand the competition. You try and understand the ecosystem. Now, I don't know whether you are familiar with the term ecosystem. No? I will explain it. Most of the products and services which are being launched today don't function in isolation. They always have links towards other services. The best example of this, or one of the better examples of this, was iTunes. When iTunes was launched, it relied on record companies or music companies providing the music. It relied on either Apple or other people producing players which were able to use iTunes. It relied on computer manufacturers allowing iTunes to be installed on computers, etc. So most of the services which are being provided today have an ecosystem. I don't know how it is in Thessaloniki, but in Brussels, for example, when you enter Brussels now, you can see not only where the parkings are, but you can see how many places are still available in every single parking. Now, the reason why this works is because there is open data interchange, and so people have agreed that they will share this kind of data. It's the same principle which allows you to see on Google Maps, you know, where the buses are and where you can take the bus, and maybe even how many minutes till the next bus, etc., etc. So these are ecosystems. So they're different providers that all provide a piece of the service, and it's because all of these providers are present that you get a good service. Okay? Then the challenges that you see, the opportunities that you see, the major insights that you have, what have you seen, what do you know about your target users or about your market that is going to be particularly relevant for your solution, and then the context and constraints. So what are the constraints of that you will need to take into account? So I have simplified this grid a little bit because I know you cannot do everything in a day. And I will ask you to take a sheet on your table. You should all have sheets on your table. Just draw 4 boxes. And in the group, think about the purpose of the solution, the insights. So at this stage, obviously, because you haven't done any market research or any interviews, it's what you think. It's what you think for the insights. The target users, who will be the key target users of your service. You may want to, for your solution, decide to focus on a segment of the SMEs. Who knows? And the ecosystem. So what could be elements of the ecosystem which you think are important for your solution?
Could we go back to the
Of course. Okay? So maybe take 2 minutes to draw the boxes. If you could quickly draw the boxes. And then I will put the objective back. Just very quickly make the boxes. Make the boxes quickly, then I can change the slide. And you have the boxes. I noticed that people are not comfortable with drawing. It's going to be very important today, huh? Don't worry about it's not a beauty contest. It's not a beauty contest. Okay? I'm sure you leave space in the box. Make sure that you leave space. Okay. You know when you should go into Okay. All right. So, if you thought drawing the boxes was complicated, wait till the rest of the work. Okay, we'll go back to the objective. So this is your objective. Okay? So I'll give you about 20 minutes to fill this in. You have about 20 minutes. Okay?